Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. My name's Derek. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in my girl, Kate. Kate, how you doing this evening?
I'm so good, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well.
Yay!
Next, we got Pete. Pete, hey, how's it going?
How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun show, I think.
It's going to be a fun show. Next, we have Rebecca. Rebecca, how you doing this evening?
Doing wonderful. So excited to be here.
Yeah, and we have Sam. We've got the full platoon here. So we've got Sam tonight. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good. I'm here to show off my new shirt, Rogers the Musical. I know it's not an Avengers or Marvel night. However, I did have to give it up for Captain America. We're talking Olympics, right? So
we are talking Olympics.
Yep.
So, guys, tonight there was a ton of Disney Plus news that got dropped today. So much so that Kate and I had to do a separate show that's going to be a standalone episode alongside this one.
Yeah.
About all the Disney Plus news.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Make sure you're listening to all the announcements that were on there. There's some on there for Star Wars. There's something on there for the Marvel fans out there, including the Star Wars. I still think I'm going to be correct. I still think Obi-Wan is coming out May the 4th, but we shall see how things go. That being said, tonight we are doing Cool Runnings. It's the Winter Olympics. Several of us are children of the 80s and 90s. So it is definitely a Cool Runnings night. This was the iconic Olympic movie as we were growing up. And
yeah,
as we do with our vault shows, we're doing vault trivia. We're doing trivia, a round of trivia on Cool Runnings. So let me pull up the QR code. What you will do is you will go to crowd.live and you will put in the code KZ9XF. It's at the bottom of the screen. It's at the bottom of the screen next to me. Or you can scan the QR code that is there. What you'll do is you'll put in a username and you'll put in an email address. We will not spam you. I don't think we have ever sent any emails out from the people we have heard from in the show. And yeah, as Pete is showing on there, it will say Cool Runnings Trivia. Game will begin shortly, and it'll have the Plus Platoon icon there sitting on it. What I would do is I will strongly suggest that you watch your phone once we start the trivia, because if you watch the screen, the trivia will be about 10 seconds behind and you won't do very well. So, and it is pub style trivia, so the faster you answer, the better. Unlike some pub style trivias, you only get one chance to answer. So once you click in an answer, that's it.
I think I'm not going to do well regardless of which screen I was looking at.
See, I would say that if you have watched the movie recently, I think you're going to do fairly well. So again, please go on crowd.live. KZ9XF is the game code. Play along, even if you haven't watched it since you were a kid. Get on, enjoy. It's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun.
But don't let your cat answer the questions like Pete's cat is about to do, because they'll probably get them wrong.
Although there are
my
some
cat will say meow to everything.
Yeah. And as Steve says, he hasn't watched the movie in years. Let's see how good his memory is.
Yeah.
I will say if you haven't watched it recently, you will, I'm guessing 11 or 12 out of 15. I'm guessing, because since I wrote the questions, I'm guessing if you haven't watched it recently, you should be able to get 11 or 12 out of 15. There may be some that are a little tricky for you, But get on, play. It's a whole heck of a lot of fun. I'm going to give people about another 30 seconds to sign up. Kate, how long ago did you first see the movie?
Came out in 93, right?
Maybe.
I think it came out in 93.
Yes.
I remember watching this movie almost every year. So, and I want to say we had it on VHS. So I want to say, granted, I was only like 6, which whatever, but
Pete, how about you?
I want to say I saw it when it came out and then subsequently after.
I definitely saw it in the theaters. I
watched it tonight for the first time.
Oh,
awesome.
Sweet.
About
Sam.
3 hours ago. So yeah.
Nice. I probably saw this I'm pretty sure I saw this in the movie theater back when it first came out. And then I actually just watched it like a couple months ago. And so I didn't rewatch the whole thing. I think Brian and I had gotten through all but the last 30 minutes of the movie. So over the weekend, I was like, oh, let me just watch the last 30 minutes of the movie. And Brian was like, wait, that's the worst part. Don't watch that.
Yeah, the last 30 minutes is not the best. It's also, I don't know. Well, we'll get into what everyone thinks of the movie after the trivia. But we've stayed very constant at 9. We've got 9 players tonight, which, okay, we've got 9 players tonight. Let's see how you do. And Steve says he saw it in the theaters and rented it on VHS a few times. Totally agree. Remember seeing it on the VHS tapes? Because I'll be honest, I didn't have a DVD player until college.
Yeah. That was when we had Blockbuster Video.
Oh, Blockbusters.
Oh, what a difference.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I haven't heard that jingle in years.
Yeah.
So that being said, everyone, I hope everyone has a good time and we will get going. So good luck, everyone.
Kiss the lucky egg.
Okay, how'd you do?
I already know one that I got wrong.
Okay.
Because I just clicked on the wrong thing.
I read one question wrong and thought that it said, what is the color of the helmets of the nice team? And I was like, well, I think the nice team was this. And then so I hit it and then I reread it and I was like, oh man.
Okay.
That's the one I think I got wrong. I think I clicked green, but I think it's yellow.
We will take a look at it. So, sorry, got to get stuff pulled up. Okay. So, what year did Cool Runnings come to theaters? Thanks to Kate. Everybody should have known that was 1993.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was the 1998 Olympics. There were Olympics
1988.
88 Olympics, sorry, in Calgary. The bald team member was Yul Brynner, which I always thought was a hilarious name.
It is a great name.
They ran in the 100 meters was the race that they ran in. Sanka trains for cold weather in an ice cream truck.
I love that one. That scene is great.
Yeah. Sanka coffee. Yeah. And he trains for an ice cream truck because they're all standing there eating ice cream, and then they open the door, and there's out comes Sanka.
And his braids
his dreads are frozen.
Yeah. Or dreads, yeah.
They get the money for the Olympics by Junior selling his car. I thought I might get more people on this because I put the wrong people doing the wrong thing on the other three.
That's right, because Sanka was singing. Yul was arm wrestling people.
And Maurice was in the kissing booth. Well, and technically so was Sanka, but
right. But none of that actually raised the money anyway. Junior selling the car is what really raised the money.
Correct. Where does the team practice walking on ice? In a hockey rink, because the Russian hockey team comes in after them, and one of my favorite parts is Yul Brynner shoving the guy down who came at him, and then he falls down.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
He wants to live in Buckingham Palace. Although I almost want to give points to the people who said beachside condo, because that's where I want to live.
But then Junior walks over to him and says, "You will go find your palace." Oh, so good.
Where the bar where the team fights is a country music or Western. I mean, they probably had both types of music, country and Western.
And Western, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's it.
Blues Brothers.
Back to Blues Brothers, yes. A great movie that if it was on Disney Plus, I guarantee would be on the vault list. The team practiced the turns of the course in the bathtub. That is an iconic shot. Blitzer cheated by putting weights in the front of the sled. So, and Gina asked, is country music a thing in Canada? Yes. Calgary is very much the plains. Yeah. It's open. It's farm country. So
Calgary is famous for their Stampede, which is a big week of rodeos and everything. And so that was very appropriate for Calgary. Probably not the rest of Canada, but
yeah,
definitely Calgary.
Yeah. The team's competition helmets were yellow.
That's the one question I got wrong. I knew it. I just clicked green, like fat fingered, and couldn't change it. Yeah.
The nice team had red.
I was surprised you didn't match or unmatch the colors there, Derek, because
I didn't feel like being mean. I did not want to be mean on that one. I thought about it, but I didn't want to be mean. So Maurice tries to copy the Swiss.
I'm surprised you didn't confuse people with this because they count in German, but it's the Swiss team.
Yep.
But most people got it. So good job, everyone.
The team is in last place after run 1. One of the most iconic lines is, "Hey, Sanka, you dead?"
Yeah, man.
Love it.
And in the movie, the team finishes by carrying the sled across the line. So, as I said, I think if you watched the movie fairly recently, you probably did fairly well.
But
Gina
I
says
was
she.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just so confused by some of the questions because his name is Derice, not Maurice.
Oh, you're right.
Right?
It's
That's what I thought it
Dory.
was to Doris. Yeah.
And I was like, who is Maurice? Like, what? I just watched it and I have no idea.
You're right. It is
who
Doris.
this is.
That is
It's
right.
Yeah.
Derice with a D.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
My
right,
mistake.
Derek.
Yeah, he is right. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just thought it was
So
funny.
That is funny.
those two, it would affect question 3 and question 5. So I can go in and make adjustments on that if needed.
What do you win anyways,
I
right?
was just saying,
I win.
I'm 7th
right?
place. I don't think it's gonna help me any.
Win bragging
But-
rights.
Our rankings are Sam, you won it, 14 out of 15.
Nice.
Now, Pete got all of them correct. Very nice. But
But he's not
it takes
fast
a while to
enough.
read them. Yeah, he wasn't wasn't fast
I've
enough.
never been fast on trivia.
No.
I always had that problem. So
Ooh.
and like the one that Sam got wrong with the helmets, I was almost to because I was like, are their helmets yellow or is the sled yellow? And I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
if you looked at the art on the post tonight,
I've been posting all week. I know what they're
Honestly, I knew it was yellow. I just screwed up
Hit the wrong thing.
hit the wrong thing. So I should have been slower. So Pete, you needed to be faster and I needed to actually be slower. And
So-
then, our powers combined will
There you
form
go.
Voltron.
Ryan says he did beat Steve, who was second last. Steve got last, but and Nick says only because he didn't play. Guys, I hope. Please let me know if trivia is still something you guys want to see on the Vault shows, because if it's not something you're enjoying, we don't have to do it necessarily, but please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Let us know if it's something you want to keep doing, is the trivia on the shows. But if not, it's something we could do without. So
we like it
That
though.
being-
We
and-
enjoy it. So
and Steve has said yes, please. So
I like it.
okay. Well, as I said, we have talked about we're talking about cool runnings tonight. And so I'm going to start with Sam. Is the movie worthy of the gold medal, or did it crash and burn?
this movie is a gold medal winner. Now, of course, they didn't win the gold in the 1988 Olympics. They did win some medals later on. It's just a fantastic movie. All of the actors are wonderful. It's a feel-good story. To me, this is kind of a quintessential Disney sports movie. It's a wonderful, obviously, Olympics movie as well, but quintessential feel-good Disney sports movies. It's okay that they don't win because they're trying to stay true to the original story. It's obviously it's a fictionalization of a true story in the sense that Derek's telling me a little bit. I mean, there was a Jamaican bobsled team. There were these 4 guys who got together. There was this coach, right? So it's not every detail in the movie obviously is true, but it's based on a true thing that happened in Jamaica and how they started this bobsled team. So anyway, love it. Fantastic movie, fun, hilarious, and some great acting. And it's really nice to see John Candy again on the screen. May he rest in peace. Derek, what about you?
Mute.
Well, you can't hear you.
Of course we can't, because it's been one of those days. So to me, it is definitely it's definitely a gold medal. This was an iconic movie during my middle school years. And it was really helped with the fact that the Olympics were in 92. This came out in 93. And then in 94 is when they started alternating years. So there was another Winter Olympics. So because prior to 1992 and prior, the Winter and Summer Games were in the same year. Now, it's not really based on a true story. There was a Jamaican team and they did crash in race in run 3. And they did come back in 92. Other than that, and even the director has said, if we made this today, we could not even say based on a true story, because the real athletes were from the military. The coach and the sponsor were from the United States and went down there to form a bobsled team. So and there was no animosity among the other teams. There was no problem with them qualifying. There was no cheating coach. But that being said, guys, it's a great movie. It's a movie I will seek out and watch, especially every Olympic year. So, Kate, how's Cool Runnings for you?
10 out of 10. So good. Held up, lives up. So good. Made me laugh out loud multiple times. I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't sure, like when we watched The Sandlot, and it was like, ooh, there's parts of this that are like I was a little bit afraid that going back and rewatching this movie that there was going to be that, and I didn't feel like there was a lot of that at all, really. And I mean, everyone needs a Sanka in their life. Every one of the 4 teammates is someone that you need in your life. I feel like just everyone needs a Junior. Everyone needs a Yule. Like, it just, and the parts are so iconic of like when he's like, look in the mirror. What do you see? I see Junior. Do you know what I see? Like, and then he goes out and he stands up to the East German guy and he's like, I don't know. Like, it's so good. And it holds up. I could watch this movie again and again. It's great. So, Pete.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I said I saw it in the theaters. I don't think I saw it between then and like 2 years ago. We watched it when we first got Disney Plus, and then now again for this. And yeah, it's a really good, enjoyable movie. I really like, and I think what works for it is like 5 really strong characters. I mean, Sanka is a little bit of a comic relief. There isn't a lot there with his personality, but each one of these characters like goes through stuff in the movie and grows from who they are at the beginning of the movie. And so I think that makes it so that when you get to the end and, you know, they crash and they're carrying that sled in that last little bit, it really like gets to you emotionally because they've spent the movie developing the characters. And so I really think it works that way. Is it like hilarious start to finish? No, but it's very heartwarming, very much a feel good type of comedy. And so I really enjoyed it. And I think most people would at the very least like enjoy it. Not necessarily like, again, I don't know that I would put it in like my top 10 comedies or anything like that. I definitely wouldn't, but yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. And it also made me really sad for John Candy because this was one of the last films he made. He only made 2 other films after this, and he was really, really good in this, and not just in a comic way. He didn't play he didn't play for the laughs like he does in most of his movies, and it really made me wish we had more of him. But anyways, Rebecca, your thoughts?
I think I'm gonna give it like 4th place in terms of competition. So I had never seen this movie before it came out. 6 years before my time I was even born. And it just wasn't hooting and hollering when I was growing up, so I never took the time to watch it. And I fell asleep like halfway in, and then I woke back up and was confused on where I was. And there was like, I only knew the Yule question because they called him Baldy, so it was like that part made sense to me. I was glad to see the end though, and at least see how they finished the race and how they finished. You know, I saw them qualify and I saw them like, you go to the Olympics and what happened to them. And then, the little text features at the end of the movie I thought were great. So I was glad to see that portion of the movie. It did remind me a lot of when I went to Jamaica. We went for a cruise, and just getting to kind of be back into that culture was really fun because it was one of my favorite excursions that we had done. So I love, Jamaican culture and, how the women dress and the music and all the different styles that they have. So that was really interesting to see in the movie. But as far as storyline goes and plot, I don't really think that I needed a whole movie to learn about this team, but it wasn't a bad movie. But fourth place, I think, is just right there for me. Like, you know what, you're still top 5, like you were still good, but you don't deserve a medal for what you did. I mean, you crashed. You know what I mean?
I like the analogy there. I don't agree, but I like your analogy, Rebecca.
Yeah.
That's fair. I feel like a lot of us love it partly because we grew up with it.
Yeah.
Like growing up
100%.
with
100%.
Jamaica, we have a bobsled. Like I just remember walking around always seeing that. So I think that same for with why I love Sandlot so much is because it was a part of my childhood. So I think I can understand where you're coming from, Rebecca.
Yeah. And Gina says she's surprised how well this movie held up. Vicky says she'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. I'm assuming out of 10, unless she's giving it a 9.5 out of 5, which, possibly.
I think we should score it on a figure skating curve and give it like a
274.
Yeah, it's what. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to have its technical merit, then you have to have its execution, then you have to have its artistry. Okay, but speaking of ratings, guys, we typically give a pixie dust rating out of 5. Kate, as always, we're starting with you. What do you give it?
5.
5. Wow.
I'll give it. It has everything I look for in a movie. It has humor. It has competition. It has a heartbreak. Like it is not a victory story. It has overcomers. It has 5.
I'm going to give it a 4. Like similar to Rebecca's ranking of rat movies, this is the second best Winter Olympic movie in my view. So I'm only going to give it a 4.
What? Behind what?
Miracle.
Behind Miracle? Duh.
Yeah, Miracle.
Is that Pete? You and I are like just simpatico today.
Yeah. Rebecca, what about you?
I'm right at 2.5, right in the middle. Neither here nor there, no good or bad, just right in the middle. Sam?
I'm exactly with Pete today. I'm a 4 because it's not as good as Miracle, but it's a good Winter Olympic movie. It's a good Disney sports movie.
What's the equivalent to rat movies?
Probably Stuart Little, I think.
Yeah, it's no Ratatouille, let's put it that way, but it's good.
I'm at a 4.5. It's not quite the pinnacle, but it's close. If I could give partials, I probably would give it a little bit higher. But if we're sticking to the halves, it's a 4.5 for me right now.
Is this the highest ranking you've ever given, Derek?
No, he gave Sandlot a 5, I think.
No, I did not give Sandlot a 5.
Oh, you didn't?
I gave Toy Story a 5.
Toy Story.
And I gave Olaf and Sandlot a 4.5. So it's close. It's up there for me, but it's not quite over the top. So Gina's going to give it a 4. The jokes are slightly dated and corny, slightly corny, really. But then again, I love corny jokes. I love corny jokes.
What was the joke that Sanka says to Yule about something about a butt? And he goes, I'll draw a line down the middle of your face and make you look like a butt. And I laughed. I had to pause it because that's such a childish joke. And my inner middle schooler was like, oh my God, why have I never thought to say that to someone?
I specifically remember us when we had to move some bleachers in middle school soccer, doing the 1, 2, 3 and picking stuff up because we'd all seen Cool Runnings. So, okay. Now, for the rest of the show, we're talking about Boba Fett. So, Kate, I got to drop you down because Kate has not seen Boba Fett. Is it Rebecca? Did you watch Boba Fett? Okay, but we are going to bring in our resident Star Wars aficionado. We're not going to say geek, but aficionado, Gina. Gina?
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
Gina.
Thanks for having me to talk my
Yeah,
usual.
you're welcome. So, Jay,
Wait,
Gina?
We're in Star Wars, aren't you? I can
I'm
only
wearing
see
Star
the very
Wars. I have my
Very
Star
good.
Wars ears. I am Star Wars ready.
I've got my
Nice.
bourbon, so we're good to go.
Yes.
So, anyway, Gina, what will Grogu choose? For those of you who haven't seen the show yet, he's got a choice between the Mandalorian armor that he's given him and Yoda's lightsaber, which we're going to talk, we can get into the whole thing about how he actually has Yoda's lightsaber a little bit later because it was lost and all that. But anyway, Gina, which one does he choose?
There's so much to unpack in this episode. Okay, so we got to go with, is Kathleen Kennedy's canon still canon? If that is true, then Grogu must choose the armor. The reason he must choose the armor is because when Luke Skywalker builds his academy, the first student is Ben Solo. So therefore, if we're saying Kathleen Kennedy's version is canon, he is choosing that. Now, what I would really prefer is for him to have both. Can he have the armor and be friends with Mando? And can't he learn how to fight with a lightsaber? Because how cool would that be and how amazing? But with Luke being like his father, there's absolutes now. So what is that about? So I've got this whole thing going on in my head, but we can talk more about that later. Luke with the absolutes and Grogu choosing the armor. Pete, how about you? Oh, this way, Pete.
I think not so much for that reason, but I think because this is the Mandalorian, not the Skywalker or the Jedi or whatever you want to call it. I think that they'll find a way to put Grogu back together with Mando for season. I don't know. Is the next Mandalorian season 4 actually? Because this is season 3.
It's 2.5. It's what Steve said. It's what Steve said. Mandalorian season 2.5.
So, I think he probably will choose Mando, but I don't know. I mean, there's a ton. I hope we're going to be talking about more than this because, boy, I want to talk about this episode. But
so
Rebecca,
much.
what about you?
I just have to say that this episode was so far better than the rest of the Boba Fett episodes so far. It was astounding. And I talk about The Mandalorian only because of how much I loved Grogu and that relationship between the two of them. So for literally this episode to have more than 50% Grogu in it, I was so excited, over the moon, because after I wasn't on the Platoon episode for last week where we talked about episode 5 because I hadn't watched it yet. So I watched episode 5 yesterday, episode 6 today, and watching 5 and him saying I'm going to go to my little friend, and I was like, oh my God, he's coming, and I was freaking out, and I literally just could not stop watching. His jumps were so tiny, and then he pulled out the little suit. I'm breaking down. It's what he'll choose. It's a thing the heart wants something else, but the mind wants, they're pulling in two different directions.
Right,
I think.
yeah.
My heart wants him to be with Mando because I want that relationship back. But do I think that it's better for his future that he should choose the Jedi life? Yeah, probably. But that's not what anybody wants. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. I don't know any single person that wants Grogu to do the lightsaber. So I don't know. I tugged in both directions because my heart wants something else, but my mind is saying no, he should do this, even though it's not what I want him to do. So I can't make a decision. Sorry.
Okay, so my prediction is, I wasn't thinking about the canon of who was going to be the first at the Skywalker School of Jedi. However, I think that this is sort of the catalyst for kind of the downfall of the Jedi, because we know that the Jedi get decimated after this at one point. And so I personally, again, right? So I think that there's no way Grogu becomes a Jedi. Grogu has to go with Mando, and for a couple of reasons. One, because we know the Jedi are going to be decimated, but also because we have a lot more Mandalorian show, and I know obviously we're in Boba Fett technically, but we as we all said, we're really in Mandalorian season 2.5. Yeah, they need Grogu for this show, right? So he can't be off with Luke training to be a Jedi and still be on the Mandalorian / Boba Fett series. So yeah, he's got to choose Mando because we have to see more of Grogu. And if he doesn't choose Mando, then we're not going to see him, because I don't think we're going to see much more of Luke. Luke is it's a cameo, is a big cameo because he's in almost the whole episode, but I think this is a cameo. We might see Luke in the next episode for a short bit, but then I think Luke is at his Jedi school on that island or wherever he's at, planet, I guess.
I agree.
Derek?
And I think Ahsoka might show up. He might show up on Ahsoka's show, but that's a different story.
Yeah. I have to say, I thought that the CGI or deep fake, whatever they used, was excellent. I thought it was really well done.
And I will say on that, they actually, after the last episode of Mandalorian, they actually hired someone who was an expert at online deep fake stuff to make it look better. So they did do that. I think, there are images and all that kind of comics and everything of showing him in the chainmail armor. So I think it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Personally, if it's me, my guts to take the lightsaber, but just because or as Luke said, Mando dies in 50 years. Why can't he come back in 50 years and become a Jedi then? Because if he does, if he's going to live 900 years, which is what Yoda lived, if he's going to live 900 years, what's the harm of him going for 50 years off there? He'll be essentially the equivalent of 10 years old. And then, so what? He's lost 10 years. Luke didn't start till he was late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, but he has to choose now. He doesn't get to, because that's the choice in front of
him.
Because
Luke is dealing in absolutes like his father.
Right, exactly. Because Luke has gone to the dark side.
Luke is now a Sith.
Luke makes a trip to the dark side.
No.
Yes. Who else deals in absolutes? Who else deals in absolutes?
Yeah, this is setting up. I agree. For where he snaps.
Only Obi-Wan said only the Sith deals in absolutes when he's talking to Anakin. So there is no absolute. I'm not sure why Luke has such a
that's why Ben doesn't end up staying with him. That's why Ben goes to the dark side, right? Because Luke is not a good teacher.
I disagree that
terrible.
I disagree that Luke is on the dark side, but I think Luke makes a lot of mistakes, and that's what leads to
this.
That's what leads
this
to
is the start. Yeah,
This is exactly. This is like a catalyst for other things. This is the start of Luke making big mistakes as a teacher
and wanting to kill Ben.
Right, and then Ben.
I'm going to go back to something I've said in a previous episode. I would not want to live 900 or 1,000 years because all the people near me die. So if you don't make those attachments and he does go for the lightsaber, he's actually going to have an easier life, because he's not going to have to see all the people he loves die. I don't see yes, there's a downside to taking the lightsaber, but to me, it's not that big of a deal to not see Mando again. Yes, he's a kid, and I understand that, but it's not that big of a deal if he's never going to see Mando again. In 50 years, he'll never see Mando again anyway. If he lives that long.
But you're not thinking like a real person when you're saying that, Derek. Like think
he's
about
not a real person. Grogu is not a real person. He lives for 900 years.
The other thing is, though, Luke had attachments. He had attachments to Leia. He had attachments to Han. So Luke saying
had attachments, Gina.
Exactly. I know. That's what I'm saying. Luke saying this makes zero sense because he had the attachments.
But now he's a Jedi, Gina.
But he still has the attachments because look what happens in the future.
You know.
He still loves his sister.
But I'm saying Grogu, like Mando's become kind of an adopted father figure to him. And so if if somebody was told like you could never see your parent again, like even if you're going to outlive your parent, right? So
and part of it is, I think it's obvious that he's going to go see Mando. I think it's obvious, but I'm just arguing there's another side to it that if he didn't, in 400 years, he's going to realize, oh, yeah, there was this Mando guy that helped me grow up a little bit. Okay.
No,
So,
it's more than that. The relationship is
no.
more meaningful than
Yeah.
that.
So here's the deal. If I didn't know like canon and I didn't know at the future how it was going to play out, I would, for me, my world, I would say I want him to be a Jedi. I want Luke to be successful and have a Jedi school.
That.
Because I know the canon. I'm like, he's choosing the armor regardless of what I think. But that's
that cat has a real strong opinion about it. I want to know what the cat thinks.
He's waving the flag.
So,
and I just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Obviously, Ryan says he thinks Mando would want him to choose the lightsaber. I would totally agree with this, Ryan. He worked so hard to get him there. He might want to help him see him through, which is why he did not insist on going to see him.
Right.
Because let's face it, Mando could have shot Ahsoka and gone and saw him. Totally. And I don't know how Luke really would have stopped him. Personally.
Yeah, but Ahsoka would have kicked Mando's butt.
Oh, no. How is she going to fight a blaster?
She's
got two lightsabers.
She's force sensitive. She's not a Jedi. She's force sensitive. However, she's been trained by Anakin.
And that brings me to another point. Does Grogu really need help using the Force at this point?
He's just out of control.
Yeah, he needs,
from what we saw before.
And Luke's not. And Luke isn't out of control. I'm sorry.
He has more control of the Force. He has more control of the Force than Grogu.
How? How does he have more control?
And Grogu gets really tired. Remember when he was with Mando, he gets worn out from any time he uses the Force. And so he's building up his stamina too. He needs practice to build up his stamina.
But does he really need Luke to do that?
Maybe he could do it. Maybe he could do it on his own. We don't know. This is the thing. I think if he chooses Mando, he's still going to have some Force powers, right, on his own without some training. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And this kind of leads us in to our next question, guys. What happens in the finale? Okay. What do you think happens in this Mando season 2.5 / Book of Boba Fett finale? And Rebecca, not you. Okay. Sam, you. What do you think happens in the finale?
Well, Mando and Grogu have to be reunited. That's the only important thing. I don't care about anything else in Boba Fett.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
No? Honestly,
no, I think this chapter's done, actually.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I guess Mando's got to get back to Boba Fett, and they got to start they got to start their fight. I really like the marshal guy. I forget his name. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure he's not dead. He's just injured.
Raylan Givens.
Yes, yes. You know, that's his character's name in another show in Justified. But I absolutely love Timothy Oliphant. He's great. So I think we'll see him in this episode. We're going to see, I don't know if we're actually going to see the fight between the Pikes and Boba Fett's group, or if we're just going to kind of see everybody mobilized to fight. And then the fight might be in the next season. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen or when we're going to see Grogu and Mando get together, but I was hoping for it in the next episode. Derek?
Muted.
Muted again. I love it.
Wow.
How much is in that glass there, Derek?
Wouldn't you like to know? Guys, I just want this done. I really do. He's going to ride the Rancor. He's either going to get control or he's not. Someone's going to die, probably another minor character. The Pikes he saved might help him. They might not. I just don't want a book 2. I do not want a second season of this. Give me another season of Mandalorian, fine. And really, don't bring us back to Tatooine. We have completely exhausted Tatooine. They're in a galaxy far, far away, not on a planet far, far away. This should have been the beginning of season 3 of Mandalorian, not what the heck this season has been at all. So I don't really care. I just don't want to see Boba Fett again. Gina?
Well, I have a different opinion, but that's okay. So I think this is a so what it is, it's a book of Boba Fett, and the 2 chapters we had were Mandalorian chapters. And then we're not going to know anything because that's like the hook to get you to watch Mandalorian. And then we are going to have this Cad Bane deal with all the bounty hunters. So that's the thing. That was the push. You have to watch Rebels. You have to watch Clone Wars to know who Cad Bane and read the stuff. So that's the problem. You have to have background, but seeing him was amazing.
She means
and
the
we're
blue
all...
dude. Yeah.
This is
apparently
turning
the
into
blue-
Marvel, guys. This is turning into Marvel really fast. where you
I'm
have
not,
to
listen, I
see
don't need to watch all that other stuff, Gina. I really enjoyed this episode, and I don't need to watch any of that stuff. I just know the blue dude is bad. That's all.
He's
I
a
need
bounty.
to know.
Well, he's not bad. He's neutral. He's a bounty hunter, just like everybody else.
Well,
he's just hired.
He's mostly bad.
Say,
But
isn't
he's
he the
hired.
syndicate that everyone's talking about?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
part of the
That's
syndicate.
pretty bad.
Was hired. He was hired by them. He's a bounty hunter. Everyone
Yeah.
is a bounty hunter. They're all bad. Anyway, so my opinion of this is there's going to be another Boba Fett season because we have to go into the battle. The battle's not happening. I don't believe it's going to happen. We're going to set it. They're going to set it all up, and we're going to have the whole team. That's
Why couldn't
my
this
prediction.
just have been a movie? Why could this not just have been a
You
movie?
say that for every series.
Because
Anyway,
no,
I really
no,
enjoyed it.
No, I don't. I do not say that for every series.
And I just want more. I want more of the Boba Fett bounty hunter, what crime lord, whatever this is, to unfold. And then, but we've got other shows to go too, because we've got Ahsoka, Sabine, all that. Go ahead.
I'm
Pete.
kind of with Derek because I sat through 4 episodes of Boba Fett, and even as a big Star Wars fan, I was kind of like, this is just kind of so. And then Mando shows up, and I'm like, yeah. So you know, let's finish Boba's story. Let him win over the crime syndicate or whatever, and then we don't need any more Boba Fett series. Let's just go back to Mandalorian and have Boba Fett be a minor character in that series or something like that. We found out Boba Fett's backstory. It wasn't that interesting. Let's just move on. That's my opinion. I think they will wrap up the story with the Pikes in this last episode. I think they will. I don't know if it'll be a big battle or if it'll be like a showdown.
Please let that happen.
We have to see how long it is. If it's a 2-hour episode, that's the only way they're going to do
don't
it.
need 2
Everything's
hours.
this. But
45
I'm just saying.
minutes.
They don't need 2
this
hours.
takes.
45
I'm just saying
minutes.
this takes so long to tell this story, and 2 chapters had nothing to do with Boba Fett that I don't know if they're going to wrap it up. That's why
I
I
think they
said
will.
okay. Hopefully, in 45 minutes.
Rebecca, what do you think?
So the only reason I didn't want to start this question, I do have opinions and thoughts, but I didn't want to start this question because I was trying to familiarize myself with like all of the characters' names and stuff. Besides the point, I actually when we started watching this was very neutral on if it was a good or bad show, because when I first watched Mandalorian season 1 and 2, Boba Fett was introduced and Fennec Shand were introduced in that series, and I, as a Star Wars person, had no idea who they were. So when we heard that Boba Fett was coming out, I was like, oh, okay, that will obviously give me more backstory on them. I mean, like we said, the backstory was not interesting, so that sucks. But like in the beginning was looking forward to just getting more information about Star Wars that had to do with a show that I did enjoy watching with The Mandalorian. Now, when I came into this Plus Platoon and we were doing the soundtrack before the show, I said, sorry guys, I had just finished watching the Mandalorian episode. Not even thinking that I was watching Boba Fett, I thought I was watching the Mandalorian. So it just kind of goes to show that like the ball was really, really dropped when introducing Boba Fett and giving us all his backstory. And everyone was so intrigued as to how he got out of that sand monster underneath the dunes. And then all of a sudden it's just, oh, he just cut himself out, you know? So like I just think they missed the mark on that one a lot. But as a regular person who loves The Mandalorian and getting to watch this, I'm just excited. I don't care what happens to Boba Fett. I do want to see the Syndicate dude come back again and see like just his plan on like what he's doing. So I thought he was really intimidating. But I'm mostly just intrigued to see what Grogu decides, if he gets back with the Mandalorian in this episode, when is season 3 coming out, things like that. But Boba Fett can really leave it at a minimum as to how much that he's in his own show, and I wouldn't care.
Okay. And Steve says that showdown at high noon was great. I loved the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
The typical Western showdown was terrific. But as Steve also says, the blue milk has spoiled. So, Pete, I will
Nobody
say,
likes the blue milk at Galaxy's Edge.
No.
It's all about
Pete,
the green milk, not the blue milk.
Should I try the green milk? The blue milk was disgusting.
They're both bad.
Listen, the green milk isn't great, but it's not
That's bad.
disgusting like the blue milk. Let me put it that way.
Well,
That's funny because we actually liked the blue one more than the green
Yeah.
over here.
Different levels of bad.
Yeah.
so
But
okay.
I just have to say one more thing, though, for those of you that are not Star Wars fans. Boba Fett, when he was a kid, actually worked for Cad Bane. So those characters do know each other if they end up crossing paths at some point in this last episode. But that might be a useful thing to know, or it might not.
And as I said, I just hope it comes to a head in this episode. I hope this episode is the fight with the Pikes. Make it 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and call it a day.
Yeah.
So, but we'll know tomorrow because it will come out tomorrow and we will see what happens. Next week, we're going to be talking all Boba Fett finale. It's all going to be Boba Fett finale. What happens? What did we like? What didn't we like? What do we think is coming up next? And that's going to be the main focus of our show next week. I will say in a couple weeks, we have got a what are you watching show. So please let us know. What have you been watching that's not Boba Fett or our Vault shows? What else have you been watching that's coming up? So in a couple weeks, we're going to have one of those shows where we're really going to rely on you, the listener, to let us know what else is out there, what else is on Disney Plus that we need to be seeing. If you have suggestions that we should all watch as a team, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We will take messages anywhere. Please let us know because March isn't looking that much more full than necessarily February did. I mean, there's a few things coming out, but we're going to have some shows that we're going to need to fill.
Hey, we should bring Kate back in.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
excuse me, you're forgetting someone. Very pivotal. Thank you.
No, I didn't forget you. I just like not everyone interrupting me. So we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Pocket Cast, Stitcher. Everywhere you can find a podcast, we are there. Please let your friends know. Watch us, listen to us, do whatever you want to with us, and then go on into Apple Podcasts.
Not whatever you want.
Well, you know what I meant. Go on, give us those 5-star reviews. Guys, you guys know you love us. Not everybody else knows you love us too. So that being said, guys, been a great show tonight. Really enjoyed our spirited debate, as it were. And we will see everyone next week, and we'll see what sides we end up on. So with that, everyone, good night, everyone.
No.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's
Bobsled time.
Platoon time.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @PlusPlatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.